Hello, everyone. Welcome to Tuesday Night Live with independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator Teresa Harper, located in Oregon in the United States. So happy that you are here on this first day of the new Stampin' Up! Rewards program. So let's talk about our Stampin' Rewards program for just a minute while we're waiting for people to jump on here. As of today, everybody who places a $20 order and opts in to the Stampin' Rewards program will receive a 10% Stampin' Reward credit eligible on your next order, and you can bank those for 365 days, a minimum, and then you can place a big order and use them all up, or you can use them as you earn them. Having a hard time finding the video here so I can see who's on. There we go. Now we're good. All right. So anyway, let's say you spend $20 on an order and you have no discounts or coupons or anything like that. Then with a $20 product total, you would earn $2 in Stampin' Rewards, and Stampin' Up! Will put that into your account when the order is closed, and then you will have that product credit for the next time you order if you choose. Or let's say you order and then you want to order another time and you have a $50 order. So now if you don't use your Stampin' Rewards and take any money off of that $50 and you bank those rewards, then you can earn another $5 reward, which would give you a total of $7. Then when you place your third order, then you could take that $7 off, depending on what your order is. Let's keep it easy, say $50. And then you use those $7. Now your order product total has come down to $43, and you would earn your 10% on that $43 amount. So you would earn $4.30. Hello, Tracy. Good evening. So if anybody has any questions about the new Stampin' Rewards program, please reach out and I will be more than happy to talk to you about it. I did place a video that was completed by the Stampin' Up! CEO, Sarah Douglas, on the new program, how you sign up for it, and how it works. So if you want to take a look at my business page, you'll find that video there. If you're one of my stamping group friends, I sent that out in a text this morning, and so you should have gotten that video that way. All right, so tonight we're going to be working with some last chance items. I'm also going to sneak peek the new More Messages die, because we're going to be using it on both of our projects tonight. And let's go ahead and get started. First of all, we have the musical, hello Jennifer, we have the musical Jamboree stamp set. This is a standalone stamp set, no dies. And so this is on the last chance list. It is not discounted. It's such a cute set though. We're also going to be using later this evening, not on our first project, the rustic striped ribbon. This is in wild wheat. This was originally $8.50. This is in the last chance list for $5.95. We're going to be using the Forever Forest stamp set for this group of trees here. This is on the last chance, not discounted. And then we have the merriest tree dies for our second project. This is on the last chance. It started out at $37 and is now $14.80. If you haven't got this and you're looking for a good tag die, there it is. We're going to make a treat box with that tonight. It's not just for Christmas. It does have a coordinating stamp set. We're not going to be using that tonight, but I did want to point it out because this stamp set is also on the last chance list. And it started out at $25, but it's marked down to $20. So between the two of these, they were well over $50. But you right now could get both pieces for $34.80. And that is a very good deal. Okay. Let's go ahead and let's get this message out of the way of my hello, Laura, out of the way of my comments. Okay, does anybody have any questions on the new Stampin' Rewards program before I dive in here? Let's see. Don't need that for the second project. I'm going to tell you up front, I did all of my coloring ahead of time. So I'm going to give you a quick peek at what I've used. And this will be between the two projects. So we've got the boho blues here as well. This will be on the second project. The second project uses all the same thing as the first project, except for I added these two. So you've got all of those. And then let's see if I can get these in. I used all of these. I know it is a lot of Stampin' Blends, but there is a lot of coloring, and that's why I did it ahead of time. So if you want to know what I used, there they are. Go ahead and take a screenshot. That'll give it to you all. Be aware, boho blue and wild wheat are the 2023 to 2025 in colors. They are also on the last chance list, and both of these are discounted down from $11. I believe both of them are $6.60, but don't quote me on that. Depending on inventory, one could be a little bit more than the other, but I think that's what I saw. Anyway, they are discounted, and that's a good price. So, okay, let's go ahead and get these out of the way, because we're not going to need those. I will show you a little bit of how I colored my badger. Okay, so in addition to what I've shown you on the first project, we're also going to be using the Timeless Plaid. Why I keep calling it Forever Plaid, I don't know, but I do. And this is not on the last chance list. And this is a fabulous pack of paper. I love this pack. So we're going to be using the Crumb Cake Gingham there. That's the piece we're going to be using. Let me set this aside because, of course, I've already cut the piece that I need, and this are the leftovers. Okay. All right, let's get started. Let me bring in my pieces. We're going to do some ink blending. Our card base is wild wheat. Again, this is on the last chance list. And this is 5.5 by 8.5, scored at 4 1/4, which is a standard A2 size card here in the US. And let's just give that a good burnish with our bone folder, so our card will stay flat when we need it to. Okay, I hope you guys can't hear the neighbor mowing the lawn. Here is the Timeless Plaid. This piece is 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. It's not your standard size. I wanted just a tiny little border so that we'd see a little bit more of that than we normally would. So I'm going to put my layer down, and I want my paper to be seen, because if it's not going to be seen, then why put it on there? So, like I said, 4 1/8 by 5 3/8, and I'll just center that up as best I can. Place that on. I don't have any ribbon treatments on here, so I can just put that right down. And then we can go ahead and get on with our stamping. Well, we could if I put a piece of cardstock in here to stamp on. That would have been a good thing to do, would it not? Okay, well, I've got one here. Let's just grab it right there. That will work. All right. So we need this piece to be 3 3/4 by 5, I believe. Yep, 3 3/4 by 5. Actually, we need another piece too, because I need to stamp my images for you. So let's go ahead. I used all my white up earlier today for some reason. Let's cut that out. So I'll cut this at 5. And then 3 3/4. And that's going to be our focal image. And then, okay, come on. Get in there. Basic White did not want to go back into its hole. Okay, so I'm going to take some Memento Tuxedo Black, and we're going to stamp the badger. And otter, I think. And our coyote, which, believe it or not, this little coyote is the reason I bought this whole stamp set in the first place. Not that it isn't cute or anything. Ooh, I got that awfully close. I think I can still, it'll be fine, because we're going to hand cut this anyway. All right. So those, oh, one more. I almost forgot the most important piece here. We need a campfire. Because how can you sing around the campfire if you don't have a campfire? Good grief. It's kind of an important piece. Okay, so we've got those. Now, let's go to this piece. While that ink is drying, we're going to start with, this is our color palette, by the way. And I'm not sure how to show it the best, because I've got some new and some old. So we have Crumb Cake, Mossy Meadow, Secret Sea, which is a brand new Sneaky Peek in color, Night of Navy, and Misty Moonlight. Let's start with the Crumb Cake. We're going to take our blending brush, and we're going to put a little bit of ground here, because this is where we're going to sit our campfire. We're going to have some ground because we don't want it to burn and start a fire. And then we're going to move to Mossy Meadow. Yeah, let's make sure that's good. There we go. To make sure that's high enough. Then I'm going to bring in my Mossy Meadow. And I'm going to add in some grass. Blend that on in. Okay. Now we need our sky. So we're going to start with, let's see how this is going to, I think I used Night of Navy on this last. Let's see how this does. We're going to use a little bit of Misty Moonlight. I'm going to come across the top of that green on the mossy meadow. I'm going to go all the way to the top. Okay. Then I'm going to switch to Night of Navy. And I'm going to use the same blending brush because I'm going darker. And I've got my Misty Moonlight down here, so I'm going to go up above the Misty Moonlight with the Night of Navy. I'm going to go all the way to the top on it. Blend that in. Okay. And then we're going to add in our Secret Sea. And this is going to give us our night sky. So we're going to take our Secret Sea, which is our darkest blue. I'm still using that same brush. And I'm just going to go at the very top of this. Okay. And what that does is give me a gradation in my night sky there. Okay. All right. I love that Secret Sea for that night sky look. Okay. Now let's go ahead and clean that up. Now, when you're doing yours, you'll want to go ahead and take a 3 5/8 by 4 7/8 inch piece of white cardstock for the inside and do basically the same thing but a little bit lighter. Okay, so start with your crumb cake, real light on the mossy meadow, and then gradiate your blues, but in a very light color so you can still write. Okay, so we've got that. And that's good. Now, we're going to bring back in our crumb cake here. And I'm going to take the two grassy type, mushroomy images, and we are going to add these on our ground. But we do not want these to be too dark, so we are going to bring this in, stamp it off, and randomly stamp some of this. Okay, then we're going to go to our other smaller one. We're going to do the same thing. Whoops, got to stamp off. It's okay though, be fine. Okay, and then I don't want to have 6, I want to have 7. So I'm going to bring in a little bit down there. So I have an odd number, which is more pleasing to the eye. Okay, so this is our card background so far. Now we're going to bring in our stamp from the Forever Forest. And originally when I did this, I think I did it in Shaded Spruce, but I'm going to use Mossy Meadow. We're just going to stick with a minimal amount of inks. Let's ink that up. And then we're going to bring this up in here, up in the top of our scene here. Let that soak in. Okay, and then I'm going to stamp it again, move it, That's not dark enough. Okay, let's do that. I'm gonna barely stamp that and then move this. There we go, now we can see it. Ink that up, quick stamp, and bring that in. Okay, so now we have what looks like a forest in the background. Okay, and let's get that off of there. And now it's time to add our critters. Okay, but first I want to show you, because we have to color these. I'm going to show you how I colored the badger, and then the other colors you saw what I used. So let's take the badger and let's get dark smoky slate, light smoky slate, and a light basic black. Okay, and let's see if I can make this work without making a mess today. I got new glasses and I'm having a little bit of trouble adjusting to them. So let's see how this works. Okay, so we're going to take our light basic black and I'm going to go in this section right here. I'm going to try and go above that eye and below that eye and leave a space. That did not work very well for me. That's the worst job I've done on that little badger guy. For his eye, I totally closed that this time. Let's try that again. Hang on. Let's get our badger. Badger. Come on. That is not the look we are going for. We want to be able to see that eye. So we're going to go just above it and just below it. There we go. That's what we're looking for. And that leaves us our little white spot for his eye. Okay, so we've got that. You might do better off if you used your brush tip. Okay, and then we want to leave this section here white. So I'm going to come down here and I'm just going to kind of run that across there like that. I'm going to put in some spotties here. I'll run this across here. A little black down here where his arm would have a shadow. Okay, and then we're going to do the same thing over here. And a little shadow over here. Okay, and then I'm going to bring in the light smoky slate. I'm going to color the rest of him in. Okay. Right here, get his feet. And there. And his paw. Okay. Now there's quite a bit of difference between these, so that it's not blending well. But I wanted the badger is kind of a spotted animal. So we're going to go back with our light basic black now that we have that in. And we're going to take it and we're just going to dot. Straight up and down, dot. I'm going to fill that in. Okay. And then we're going to come back with our dark smoky slate, and we're going to repeat that process. Okay? And now we're going to finish it up by going again over the top with the light smoky slate, blending everything together and giving him that mottled look. Okay? And there is our cute little badger. Now, we do need to go back and take the dark smoky slate, and we're going to fill in his belly. Okay, there we go. Now I'll bring that up so you can really see what that looks like. All right. Now, I wanted the tambourine to look like it was kind of white, but not really. So I'm going to take the light smoky slate to start with, and I'm going to color those little symbol things or whatever. And for this, then, I'm going to take some basic beige. And we don't have a Stampin' Write marker or a Stampin' Blend. So I'm going to take a block and I'm going to get some basic beige ink. I'm going to bring in my palette. A little bit of water. My aqua painter. Let me get that nice and wet. Put that on my block here. Got a little much here. Okay, let's get a paper towel and dab that off because that's a little bit on the wet side for what I want. And then I'm just going to paint that basic beige onto that canvas. Okay, and remember this is just regular basic white, so be careful with how much water you put on. But you don't need a lot, and now it looks more like it should for a tambourine. Oh, and I did it on the wrong one. Ah, that's not really good. Let's go back and do this. Let's do the right one. Okay, there we go. And then I'll just wipe this on my rag. Set this aside so I don't spill that water, because we don't want to do that. That would be bad. And then I'll set my brush aside. Okay. Now, let's pretend I have those all colored. And now I'm going to fussy cut them. And through the magic of television, here we go. Okay. I did not cut out the bandana on this one. Okay. Because we're going to paper piece that. All right. So I've taken a piece of that same timeless plaid and I stamped the bandana, and we're just going to add this on like so. Okay, so then everybody will be complete, and we can start adding these to our card front. Okay, so let's go ahead and add this to our card. Oh, before we do that, let's do a little bit of, I need to take a look at this. Put this in here like this. We'll put our campfire in here, like so. Put our badger in here. And then we're going to take our music notes here. I'm going to take the Secret Sea ink. Okay. And these are all in that musical Jamboree. I'm going to ink that up with Secret Sea. Put some music notes there. I'm going to put some music notes here. Okay, and I think that's going to be good. And then we can go ahead and add this to our card. And I would recommend that you add it now so that you make sure you don't end up with part of your animals sticking off your card base and have to remove them because you didn't pay attention. Ask me how I know this. Okay, so let's put that down. And then let's go ahead and add our bandana with a little bit of liquid glue. Okay. And when I fussy cut him out, I knew that I wasn't going to use that bandana, so I didn't cut out those necktie pieces. And I'm just going to set this right on here like so. I think that adds so much character. And then we can go ahead, let's put this guy down. We're going to get some Stampin' Dimensionals for that. And add those. And these. Just using up my edge pieces here. And then I want a tiny little piece on his tail right there. And notice how I'm putting those to the inside of the tail. And then I'm going to take another little piece of this and put that on the very end of the banjo. Okay, add this to our card. Oop. I think one of my dimensional backs didn't want to go. Okay. And we're going to add this guy right down here. So he's just at the edge of our card. Singing his notes right there. Let's put our fire in here. It's going to go down flat. So let's get some liquid glue for that. Put this down in here, kind of like that, I think. I'm not going to press it down. I might want to move that up a bit. Yeah. Okay, so let's do that. And then we'll add our badger. And that is not going to fit. I'll put a mini on there. And need to put a little something on his head here for support. There we go. Have Mr. Badger down here. Okay. And finally, we're going to put our otter up here, and he's going to go on flat as well because he's in the background. He's behind that campfire. All right, so what's left for this then is we need a sentiment. Okay, so we're going to bring in the Just a Note sentiment. This is also from the musical Jamboree. But this time we're going to bring in a brand new product called the More Messages die. It's one die. It comes in a bundle. You can buy the stamp set with it. It's one stamp, and then this die will cut out all of the sentiments. But I didn't get the sentiments. I got this only. So I've got a few tips for you on this. So what I've done with this die is I cut it out of thick basic white on a 5 by 7 inch piece so that I would have a template. And now I can take this and I can go, what works? What works? Which one do I need? Will this work? Will this work? Oh, this one looks like it's going to work, so let's use this one. So when I cut this out, of course, I got all of these die cuts, right? Now, you can do one of two things. You can use the stamp positioner tool. If you have trouble with it, I'm going to give it a shot without. But if you were using a stamp positioner tool, you would actually need to cut another one, make it a little bit smaller, or use a large positioner. In my mini positioner, it doesn't work. And then I would lay this in here, line up my stamp, right? And then I would close the lid, and that would be there. And then I would die cut. Well, let's just do it. Let's see how good we are. Let's find that die cut, not this one. I should have one because I cut several of these. Right here. That one's going to fit right in there. Okay. Move those out of the way. But before I do that, I need to lay this in here. Put this in here just like this. I'm just going to set it in there. Try to make sure it's straight. Line all those up. Close my lid. Slip my die cut in there. Take my secret C. Let's ink that up. And when I press this down, I now have my sentiment. Okay? So go ahead and keep this. If you cut this at, I've got this one cut at 4 3/8 by 6. It will fit into a medium-sized envelope. And then you can just take this template put it in your medium-sized envelope. Slide it on in there. This is not thick basic white, and I would totally suggest that you use thick basic white. My larger one is thick basic white. That's how I learned that you should use the thick basic white. And then we're going to add this with a couple of mini dimensionals. And this card will be, actually, I don't need minis. Not on this one. Let's just do this. I think, oh, I ripped it. No, I didn't. I just took the top off of it. Okay, let's just do this. Got that. Top's already off. Let's add this over here. Like so. And there is our card. Okay. For the inside now, if I can find where I've put everything, because I have kind of a big mess now. Again, I did that ink blending, used those same ground cover pieces, and I'm just going to add this to the inside of my card. Okay, and I did the same thing. I just used Mossy Meadow on the envelope with the ground cover, and there is my coordinating set. Okay, I hope you enjoyed that card. Remember, that's the musical Jamboree stamp set on the last chance list, available while supplies last. Let me clean up just a bit so I don't lose my pieces. And then let's move on to project number 2, which you're going to find to be quite similar. But this time we're making a 3D treat box. Okay, so let's set these aside and bring in our pieces for the treat box. And again, I did the coloring on the coyote already that we're going to be using. So for this, you're going to need a piece of wild wheat that is 3 5/8, right? 3 5/8, yep. 3 5/8 by 8.5 inches. Okay, then on the 8.5 inch side, you're going to cut 2 rectangles down to 2 5/8 inches. So you'll have 2 5/8 by 3 5/8 for both of these. Stack them on top of each other. Take your tag from the Merriest Trees and run that through your die cut machine. Cut 2 at once. Okay? Now you have a piece of wild wheat left that is 3 5/8 by a little over 3 1/4, and you're going to cut that piece down to 3 1/2 by 3 1/8. Okay, 3 1/2 by 3 1/8. Then you're going to score it on the short side, which is the 3 1/8 inch side. You're going to score that at a 1/2 inch, rotate it 1/2 inch, put it on the 3 1/2 inch side, score at 1 1/2, rotate 180, and score at 1 1/2. Okay? Thanks, guys. I'm glad you liked that last card. Appreciate that. Okay. Then you're going to take this, and where this narrow strip is, you're going to cut up on the score lines and then angle cut. Cut up and angle cut on the little rectangle. Okay. Now your piece is ready. You've got it all scored and burnished, ready to go. This is going to be your little inside box. Right, ready? Now for this, we're going to take some tear and tape. And you're going to decide what's going to be your front, what's going to be your back. It doesn't really matter. I'm going to start here on my little tab. And then I'm just going to go to the right and put some tear and tape on this tab. And then turn it around, put the tear and tape. And in this case, you're putting the tear and tape out to the edge, because this is going to be the sides of your box. Okay, put that on that tab. Burnish those. Pull off your backing pieces. Okay. And then we're going to add a little bit of liquid glue. I'm going to add liquid glue right up here at the top, right down here at the bottom, and run a line right next to that score line. Okay, just like that on both sides. Now, I'm going to bring the side that has no adhesive at all. I'm going to pull that up, fold it in, bring the little tab up, press it in, go to the opposite side, bring that little tab up and press it in. Okay, and then I'm going to take this final piece and I'm going to fold this up, making sure that the top of my pieces are even, and give that a press. I'm going to do the same thing over here, making sure that my top edges are even. If the top edges are even, the rest of it will be good. And then I'm going to bring in my bone folder, give that a good burnish. And now this part is finished and ready. Okay? So now let's bring in our pieces. We have 2 of those wild wheat dies because we ran them through together. I also cut 1 in basic white. Okay? Then I stamped my little banjo guy. And I've colored him in the same way I colored the last one, except I did not color in the belly on this one. I left it white. And instead of paper piecing, I used boho blue on his scarf. Okay? So these are now the pieces for our box. Let's work on this piece. For this one, we're going to take our mossy meadow. We're going to take our blending brush. And we're going to put down some grass. Okay? I'm going to make it a little bit darker at the bottom than the top. All right. And then I'm going to take Night of Navy. I'm going to wipe off some of that Secret Sea. And actually, I probably have enough left on there. Could probably just go like this and be good. Look at that. Good to go. Now let's go back and blend that mossy meadow in a little bit nicer. There we go. And now we have our tag. Okay. All right. Let's clean up our ink off of our glass mat studio here with our little chamois that came with it. It's actually 4 times the size. I cut mine in fourths. All right. Now again, I'm going to put this guy down. I'm going to take a look at this. I'm going to grab my notes again. And we're going to put some notes down. I'm going to take the Secret Sea ink. I'm going to put some notes up here and some notes over here. Some of these are going to get covered up by our sentiment, but that's okay. Let's add this with some Stampin' Dimensionals. Almost got this sheet completed. Such a sense of satisfaction when you complete a sheet. Yep, I'm good. I'm good. Okay, now let's grab a couple of minis for his tail. Okay, now I'm going to take his ears, and I'm just going to take my fingernail and the tip of his tail. I'm just going to curl that a bit. Okay, I'm going to put our coyote down. I'm going to put him right here, like so. Oh, I needed to put just a little piece there on the banjo, whatever they call that thing. I don't know my musical instruments whatsoever. I would call it the neck, but I'm sure that is not the technical term. I'm sure of it. I'm sure I'm wrong. Okay, then we'll just put that down like so. And this is almost complete. Okay, so let's go ahead and start putting our little box together. So we've got this piece, and I'm going to make this the front. Actually, I'm going to make that the back. One of these has a deeper impression than the other, and I'm going to cover up the front one with the one that we did. So I'm going to put the nicest, deepest impression on the back, okay? But I don't want to add this yet because it's harder to work with. So I'm going to look to see what's going to be the front. This is going to be my front piece. Put my liquid glue on there. Stand this on the desk. Move that into place. Should fit just like so. There's barely any wiggle room. Okay, I've got that. Now I'm going to go ahead and add this now so I don't mess it up and put the wrong one. Put it on the wrong side because I did that earlier. So I'm just going to use some Stampin' Seal. And then I'm going to add this to here. Make sure everything lines up the way it should. Give that a press. Bring in my liquid glue and put it on the back of my box. Take my white old wheat tag. Set that on the desk. Line that up. and take my bone folder and burnish that down. Okay, so far this is what we have. Let's take our treats and put those in there, 2 Ghirardelli squares. And I have on my notes that this will fit a gift card, so let's check it out. I did make this box a tiny bit narrower. And because I did, the gift card doesn't fit. So we're good. 2 Ghirardellis will fit in there. Now, let's go ahead and we're going to take some of that ribbon. This again is the rustic striped ribbon. This piece is approximately 13.5, 14 inches. And I'm going to take the ribbon and I'm going to put it in half. And then I'm going to fold this in half. I'm going to put it through the front to the back, like so. Okay. Then I'm going to pull these through that loop, like that. Get that down there where I want it. And then I'm going to take my ribbon, make a loop, swoop, tuck, pull, and now I have a ribbon that's going to sit in the front over that hole just like I want it and close up that box. Okay, I think I saw this with Lindsay Mahone, but I'm not sure. I don't remember who I saw do this, and I thought, man, that's a cool little trick for boxes and to make those ribbons stay right where you want them on the front. Now we can take and trim this. And then let's do our sentiment. Okay, so we're going to bring back in those die cuts from the More Messages. And this time I'm going to find this tiny little piece right here. I actually plan to sort these out, but it's working for now. So I've got this tiny little piece. I have the word thank you. And this comes from the Mixed Labels stamp set, which is currently available. It's just this tiny little thank you. This thank you will fit in the mixed label dies, this one, but it was bigger than I wanted. So I'm going to use this, and I'm going to take my Secret C, and I could do it with my template and my stamp positioning tool, but I'm going to wing it. And there we have our sentiment. We'll give that just a second to dry. Bring in our minis, our mini dimensionals. Flip that over. Put 2 mini dimensionals on here. And then I'm going to grab some embellishments and we're going to add those to our card and to our box here. So here we've got thank you. Move that up just a touch right there. I thought this would make a cool little gift for a music teacher. That's what I had in mind. All right, so we're going to do that. Let me grab my 2023 to 2025 in color opaque sparkle dots. let's add a few of these. And no, I did not check to see if these were still available. Oops. Okay, so we're going to put one up here, one down here, and then I'll put another one over there. So we've got that. There's our little treat box, quick and easy. Now let's grab that card. And this time we're going to take I'm going to take Pebbled Path. Well, I am if I can get them to cooperate here. And I'm going to put one there, and then we'll put the other one right there. All right, everybody, that's what I have for you tonight. I hope you like that. I will not be live on Thursday night. I have other plans. So I'm going to take that day off, and I will be back here next Tuesday with some more projects for you. Remember, if you don't have these last chance items and you want to get them, now is the time to do it, because last chance items are while supplies last. When they're gone, they're gone. All right, everybody. I hope you love those, and I will see you again. Be sure to give me a thumbs up if you like the video, and I will see you soon. Good night.